Thank you for sharing that. This is a town hall, so let's get to some questions.
Let's do it.
The first question is from Adam.
You guys stand up. How are you, Senator Vance?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good, a little tired. Over the last 14 days, we, myself, my fiance, and these awesome pilots behind us have been delivering supplies all over Western North Carolina.
God bless you guys. God bless you all. We love you. We're proud of you, and we're so grateful to you. They're here.
We've seen a bit of everything. We've seen absolute decimation. We've seen destruction. And we have seen miracles left and right. Over the last 14 days, we've probably had close to, just at our location, maybe 500 different volunteers come through. And we have seen American of every shape, color, creed, and size helping every other American, which is what America is supposed to be. There's two big fears that we have. The biggest fear right now is that when all this is over, Western North Carolina becomes a footnote. And we don't want that. We don't want that for anybody that's left behind after a disaster, holding the bag, trying to rebuild everything that they've lost. And the second fear is that we won't have an opportunity to have a real conversation about the after action of what took place in order for us to understand how we can use a combination of both private sector and public sector funding and efforts to have effective, efficient actions on the ground, to make it more mobile and more agile, but more importantly, to re-inject capital back into the local economy. So this is my question. The first thing I'd like to ask is this. Will you and President Trump promise to not forget Western North Carolina if you win the election?
We will never forget Western North Carolina. That's right.
And I don't doubt that you won't. I do not doubt. The second question I think is more important. The second question is, when can we sit down and have a real legitimate conversation about overhauling the process of disaster relief in the United States?
Amen.
And understanding,
Amen. Yeah.
if I may, understanding that the bureaucratic process of red tape that we have to cut through in order to get the funding directly to the people who need it most is just simply takes too long. And it's not the fault of any individual agency or the federal government. There's a lot of...
Hold on just a second, man. We okay? Kamala Harris built this platform behind us. That's what happened. We doing okay, ma'am? We good?
You can have my chair if you want.
Go ahead, sir.
The question is, can we have a conversation about revamping a national disaster strategy so that we can utilize retired veterans and special operations personnel who have been leading the charge hands down in Western North Carolina and effectively provided food, supplies, and medical aid and assistance to thousands and thousands of lives, and revamping the national disaster strategy in the United States so that we can make it more effective?
Yeah, man, that's a big question, an important question. And let me just say, I want to reiterate, Donald Trump and I know that the Appalachian region of our country, Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, East Kentucky, West Virginia, Southwestern Virginia, has been left behind and forgotten, and we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it in response to this disaster, and we're never going to let the people of that region of our country, the region really built our country, we're never going to let them be left behind or forgotten. I promise that to you, man. And let me just say about the disaster response. First of all, I want to thank you all for everything that you did. And I want to thank all the private relief agencies, the charities, the Good Samaritans who did their job and took care of their fellow Americans. God bless you guys. We should all be proud of them, and it would have been a lot worse without them. And look, I think now that hopefully we're moving to the stage where we're trying to rebuild as opposed to just recover. And I know we're still recovering a little bit, and that's an unfortunate tragedy here. But I think once we get past that, hopefully in the next few days, where we've gotten everybody, saved everybody that we can save, then it's time to focus on the disastrous federal response to this incredible crisis. And I think what I've learned is look, 2 days, okay, you have the hurricane, Western North Carolina is underwater. What should have happened is that the president and the vice president should have sent the 82nd Airborne to Western North Carolina that day, and it should have happened right away. And instead, of course, we had a president at the beach and a vice president at a fundraiser in San Francisco. What you need in times like this is you just need leadership. Because I think, sir, you put it so well. It's not any one agency. And there are a lot of people working on the federal effort who are doing a good job, or at least is doing as good as they can. The problem is all the bureaucratic incompetence. And I was actually talking with Elon Musk about this a few days ago. I mean, Elon, by the way, was like a center-left Democrat 4 years ago. Now he's got a dark MAGA hat, right? On that you talk about a guy who's pissed off about government incompetence. He's Elon Musk. But I think what happened is, look, you've got the FAA, you've got FEMA, you've got all these relief agencies, and you've got people who have been trained by the government bureaucracy that their job is not to cut the BS and help people, it's to basically act like the DMV, right? And unfortunately, what that means in this case is you've got a lot of people who could have been helped, a lot of lives that could have been saved that weren't. And there's a lot of details to figure out. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about how corrupt and incompetent our government is. But I think the most important thing here is we try to get to the bottom of how we had such a massive failure. And I'm sorry, think about this. In 2010, the terrible earthquake in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, the 82nd Airborne was there 2 days later. 2 days later. The 82nd Airborne is an hour away from Western North Carolina, and it took 6 days to get them there. That doesn't happen without a failure of leadership. We got to get to the bottom of exactly what that failure of leadership looked like. And the final thing I'll say, sir, is the only way to fix this is by accountability. It's true in the private sector. It's true in the public sector. If you don't have accountability, in other words, if you don't fire the people who screwed up, it's never going to get better. And what is fundamentally And what's fundamentally different about the leadership style of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is Donald Trump, I mean, hell, he got famous saying, "You're fired." He believes in accountability in our government. Kamala Harris just doesn't. I think it's this attitude of go along to get along, of, yeah, you screwed up and maybe even you got people killed, but we're not going to fire you. That's not going to do good for our people in the 21st century. And I want to say just one final thing. I see you, and it sounds like you guys are pilots. You guys were helping get relief resources.
These guys are all pilots. The guys that are here, maybe crew that are in Canada.
I just want to say, man, I want to be the kind of vice president where you feel like I have your back and that I haven't left you behind. And I know that Donald Trump wants to be the kind of president that will always have your back and never leave you behind. We are so proud of you. We're so grateful for you, and we're going to fight for you when we're in the White House. God bless you guys. Thank you. Thanks for the question, man. Seriously.
That's what it is to be an American. That's what it is to be an American.